Okay, here's where I'm at on the doll. I've got the blouse all put together. I haven't put anything on the bottom yet. There's a raw seam right here, if you can see the raw seam. And I still have to do the velcro in the back. But I'm not going to put anything on her back right now until I determine what kind of skirt I'm going to put on. Now, if you look at the original pattern, you'll see that there's one piece missing on the pattern, and that's the skirt piece. So this is actually what the original skirt piece looks like. It's so big that it was actually done on two pieces of legal paper. So when I lined these two up, what I found out was that this across here is about 27 inches with your 1/4 inch seam. I don't know, let's see what you see. This is how big the skirt is, and it says to cut 2 of these. So when I first thought, it is, yes, because here's your center front right here. So you're going to sew them together to get that big, massive skirt on that dress. So if you want to do this, I think I wrote on the pattern it's like 55 inches or 56 inches across by 7 inches. But the 7 inches, I don't remember exactly what I wrote on that I sent out. But anyway, they give you a 2-inch hem to put in. Let me see if I can find a tape measure. If you actually want to do it exactly like the pattern, I want to give you the right measurements. So it's about 8 1/4 from top to bottom, so that would be 8 1/4 for the length. And then if you actually want to follow the pattern exactly the way it is, let's see if I can get this measured out for you. It is 27 3/4 inch from one side to the other, but I'm also missing a little bit here where it says to leave this open above the dotted line for your velcro or your snaps. So that is well, if you did it the right way, yeah, it's 3 inches. So when you'd sew the front piece together, and then you'd leave 3 inches open in the back for the center back to get the dress on and off the doll. So you'd have to turn these under and finish it off a little bit so it looks nice. But that's a lot of fabric, and you've got to get that all gathered and fit on this bottom around the back. And the waist on these girls are only 6.5 inches. So it's quite a lot of gathering that you're going to be doing. So you might want to go with a lightweight fabric. Okay, so that's the skirt part if that's what you want to do. I don't have any pieces of big material to match this. So what I did is I cut a strip of fabric that I could use all my remnant pieces on. And I cut it 9 inches long, and at the top I made it 3 inches, in the bottom I made it 5 3/4. And then what I did is I just did a little bit of a, not much, almost straight across here, and I did a little bit of a curve here. So you can see what I've started right here, and this is what I'm going to attach to the bottom of the dress. I had to do it this way because I just, like I said, I was using nothing but these remnant pieces from that fabric I got out of one of my grab bags. So anyway, that's where I'm at. And what I did was I sewed my fabric, because this is linen. When I started to sew my pieces together, I took my needle position and I put it all the way to the right. And then I was I took my G foot and I did an overlock stitch on here. So now I know that I know this because it's linen, it's going to fray, but if you do take that precaution, your dress will look a lot nicer when you put it together, so you're not going to have all of this raveling to have to deal with. So, and what I did is when I overlocked my thing, I overlocked it from the top to the bottom, which was a mistake. I should have overlocked from the bottom to the top. And the reason for that is I wouldn't have had all these little pieces sticking out if I would have done it this way, because that would have laid all that fabric down and I wouldn't have got those ravels. So anyway, I haven't decided how many pieces of this I'm going to put together for the skirt yet. Because if I do it as close to the pattern as possible, I'm going to need 57 width, and I don't have that much fabric because I'm almost at the end of my fabric right now. So I'm going to do what I can do on it, but if you don't do this if you don't have to. You might as well just do one solid piece of fabric. But like I said, I have to do it because I'm piecing all my remnants together. Okay. Okay, right now I'm down to cutting out my last few pieces, and what you don't see on the pattern is that on view D that I sent out, here's the view D piece. Let me see if you can see what I see. Okay, here's view D. It's actually like this. On view D, where that 3 inches is, there is a little, let me see if you can see it. There's a little tag right here. Do you see that where it comes out and up? And that's because you're going to have that 3-inch opening on the back of your skirt. So I've got my 2 final pieces ready to cut out. So I'm going to make an overlap of 3 inches on each one of these, because that's what's going to be connected to the back of your doll. So when you sew the back of your doll's blouse onto that skirt, you're going to have that 3-inch opening down here so that you can get the dress on and off the doll. Okay, so you're also going to have that overlap also where you're going to be able to put the velcro in. So you don't want raw edges on that area. You want to get some, be able to turn under and then turn under again, so you can, clear, so you don't have any raw edges, especially when you're dealing with something like this kind of linen that tends to fray so much. So no matter what kind of whatever you use, just go ahead and just give yourself whatever you think you're going to need to turn under. I would give yourself at least a 1/4 of an inch, and then probably another 1/4 of an inch, or even a 1/2 inch, because you can always trim it down if it's too much. So just go the opposite. So make this like your left and this one your right. Okay, or either vice versa, however you want to do it. But just take your pen and decide how much extra you want to add. Go down to 3 inches and then just draw your line, and that will give you that extra fabric in order to cut out here. Okay, so you'll have that extra little flap of fabric, and that way all your separate panels will be even. So then do that the same on the opposite side. Go down for your 3 inches. Let's see if you can see what I'm doing. Okay, here we go. All right. So go down your 3 inches, however you want to do it. Let me see here. I've got 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay, and then go out whatever you want to go for the width of that. And I went this much. So just do that on each side so you have that extra flap of fabric to turn down. I would do that also on the square too, even if you don't use these kind of panels. Because you can always cut it off if you don't use it. But at least if you have it there on when you're cutting out your fabric, you will be able to have it there in case you do want to use it. If you don't use it, then you can just trim it right off. But this is only when you're making your own pattern, because like I said, that pattern piece is just too big to send out. And besides the fact that it's been cut off anyway. So give yourself that extra 3 inches down. I'm going to give myself a little spare just to make sure I measured correctly, because I can always cut it off again. And then finish cutting out your pieces. I don't know if I'm going to be able to get the whole 40. I ran out of fabric, but I have quite a few. I got a pretty good size. I don't know how far you can see here, but I'm going to be pretty close to the final 57 inches. But we'll see. We'll see when we get it put together. Okay, so I'll talk to you guys later. When I get finished sewing up this, I'll do the final put together on this outfit. Okay, bye.